Are you looking for the perfect bracelet for a loved one? Would your man be interested in a personalized keyring from his children? Are you looking for the best priced jewelry, whether it be a necklace, ring, earrings, bangle, or even more? Look no further than Crafted Arts. Crafted Arts is a local business based in Barry within the Vale of Glamorgan, and they have a range of all the perfect items you need. If it's for the perfect gift for an anniversary, or maybe it's for someone's birthday, maybe something for Christmas, or you wanted to give someone that perfect gift that will last a long time, Crafted Arts is the business for you. If you want to know more or see what they have in stock, then you can visit them locally at 29 High Street, Barry, Vale of Glamorgan, CF627EB, or you can go onto their website at www.craftedarts.co.uk. You could even email them at info@craftedarts.co.uk, or maybe just give them a call at 07789 Trust me, it's worth it for the perfect gift. The best thing about Creative Space is that we don't just want to encourage people in being creative in TV, film, or even theatre. We also want you to be creative in a variety of other things as well. So do you want to have experience in making jewelry? Do you want to pick up a hobby but do not know what to take or where to start? Then look no further than the Vale Jewelry Workshops. Vale Jewelry Workshops provides the best experience in teaching you how to make the best sterling silver jewelry. They will help you make a range of silverware including rings, bracelets, and many more pieces. You will learn the basic silversmith skills such as soldering, texturing, shaping, and lots more. Not only do the workshops provide the experience for adults, it also provides the best experience and fun for children as well. So if you want to learn on how to make sterling silver jewelry, and if you're very interested, go onto their website at www.valegewelryworkshops.co.uk or get in touch with them via email at info@valegewelryworkshops.co.uk or even phone them at 07789 794248. Hey guys, how's it going? Reece Deans here of Creative Space Podcast, and today's episode features the one and only Mark Kendall from the band Great White. This one was a very fun episode for me because him and I, we sat down. Obviously we talked about Great White, we talked about the success, the music, but what was really interesting was that we went straight off the music and we started talking about Joe Calzaghe, the boxer from Wales. We talked about boxing, we talked about wrestling, we talked about so many things that had nothing to do with music, nothing to do with Great White. It was just a fun, engaging conversation that it gives me such thrill that I just love doing this podcast, and this is one of the reasons why I want to keep doing it, is because I want to talk about their careers and their interests, but I want them to sit down and have fun and really enjoy the podcast, not just for myself but for everyone as well. So without further ado guys, let's get down to it. It's me and Mark Kendall from Great White on Creative Space Podcast.
Good.
Yeah.
There we go.
Here we are. How are you, Mark?
Doing okay.
So what you been up to then today, or this morning over there?
Well, this morning I'm just chilling, but we've been getting together. We're putting songs on tape and kind of making demos, coming out pretty good. So it's exciting, Apart from that, we've been doing a lot of shows. So.
Oh, it's been absolutely amazing. So, it was funny because a friend of mine, Mark Jones, he's a fan of yours, and we were going through a lot of bands, and he was saying to me, "Oh, who are you getting on your podcast? Which bands?" And he was like, so I named a couple. I named like a member from Accept, another one from Clutch, another one from X, Y, and Z. And he was like, "Oh, I don't know that one. I don't know that one. I don't know that one." And and I was like, "Oh, okay then." And he went, "Oh, have you heard of Great White?" And I was like, "Oh, vaguely, yeah. I've heard some of their songs." He went, I was like, "I've heard some of their songs, but I mean, I know one or two of them." And he was like, "You got to get one of them on there." And I was like, "Okay, no problem." So here you are.
Great, thanks, Raj.
But before we get down to all the songs that you've done with Great White, etc., and all that, the career and the journey you've had, what made you want to go into music? What was that key moment for you where you said to yourself, I'm going to be a musician, I'm going to do rock and roll, I'm going to do whatever?
Well, my parents were my dad was a musician, so they had music in the house even when I was a little boy, and I used to sit by the record players and listen to that and sing along to certain things. It was jazz music, but there were some songs that you could sing to. And we had a babysitter that brought records with her, like Elvis and stuff like this, and I just caught on to the melodies right away and used to just kind of sing along. Then when I was about 9 years old, there was a band that played across the street and in a garage, and I used to watch them through this little window in the side of the garage. And one day the bass player was playing with his teeth, and I went running home and begged my dad to get me a guitar, and he got me an acoustic guitar, and I just kind of learned my way around the neck a little bit, learned a few songs, played for my fourth grade class, which is elementary school, and just fell in love with it, kind of stuck with it. At the same time, doing other things kids do. I played baseball, I goofed around, got in trouble, was in scouts, you know what I mean? So I did, it wasn't like tunnel vision, but I loved it and I just kind of stuck with it. That's the way I got started.
Mm. So when it came down to sorting out, getting into a band and establishing yourself, what made you want to go in it with a group? Did you ever think to yourself that you wanted to go solo? What was the initial process, really?
Um, well, when I was 15, I was still playing baseball, but I was playing guitar. I was kind of obsessed with the guitar from 15 to 18. And at 18 years old, I kind of gave up on baseball. I just thought there was no chance I was going to be a pro. And so I went full time music. At the same time, at 15, I was starting to jam with drummers and bass players and just playing at parties and stuff, just playing like I by 16 I could play I'm Going Home by Alvin Lee pretty close, and I was getting around the neck better, starting to improve. I wouldn't even leave the house without my guitar. I was like, crazy man. And so it was always a band thing with me. I never thought of solo until I was in a band for a long time. Then I'd done a few things away from the band that would be considered solo projects. But that's when I moved out right before I turned 18, and I was in a band immediately, and also working a day job, at a potato chip factory, and we were playing 5 sets a night. So we had about probably 60 songs or so. We were playing everything from Eddie Money to ZZ Top. So you play 5 45-minute sets per night, and then get up in the morning and go to the potato chip place. So, but never was it a thought of I'm going to go solo. I'm that type of a thing. I was into bands. I went to concerts, saw Zeppelin when I was like 16. um we used to go to the Forum and watch bands, so it was, it's like a kid's dream to one day be on that stage, so that was it. It was just, but really, when I was 18 and playing in a band, we were always have like small goals, like, we want to play Hollywood, that would be like the biggest thing on earth, so it was never like we want to be the next Led Zeppelin, it was just baby steps pretty much, as years went along.
As the years went along, of course, there've been many people have come and gone from the band. Was it always frustrating for you
that always happened, always occurred when a band member would come and then another band member would go, was it just part and parcel when it came to just being in a band? Did it ever frustrate you at
Yeah.
all, or was it just, yeah?
Well, yeah. Well, three of us have played on every record except the first one. I don't know what happens with bass players. It's just every few years they just don't show up, or they got an alcohol issue or something. So I have no control over bass players. Just every once in a while they just don't show up. So that we really couldn't do much of that. But the core of the band, Michael Lardy and I, who've written most of the music for the band, and as far as Jack Russell, who was the lead singer, we were connected at the hip since we were very young, but it was addiction that separated us. It wasn't. I don't think we got more than in maybe two arguments our whole life. So it was never about musical differences or anything. We both had the same goal, which was to get our music to as many people as we could and gain as many fans as we could. So we both, went head first into that. And we had the same interests. We were good friends, but the addiction became to where we just, couldn't perform to the level that we always have. And I learned a lot about addiction because I'm an alcoholic myself, in recovery for 16 years. And I've worked with a lot of people. And one thing I noticed that it's like there's a scale. Some people can just like get pulled over for being drunk and never drink again. And then you've got people that can lose a lot and still can't stop. So I've kind of learned that just by working with people. When I say working with people, I just offer my sober friendship and tell them my story and kind of how I got sober, to hope that will inspire them to, get on a sober path if they're in trouble or suffering. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's different, but we have a great singer right now and a bass player that's been in the band 15 years. And, so you always want the band to keep its original members, your entire career and just have everything go perfect, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way.
mm. You mentioned Jack Russell, and obviously, kind of mentioned it was only so sudden because I only just found out, funny enough, today that he's retired because he was the diagnosis was Lewy body dementia, from what I've heard. And when you were informed and everything, what went through your mind? Was it just like, oh my God, was it more concerning than anything else? Which I bet it was, but
It absolutely shocked me. It put everything in perspective. I just found out 2 days ago, a friend of mine called me and said, "You got to check out this article on this website." I went to the website and read the whole thing, that he's retiring, about the dementia and everything. It made the band stuff like completely not important at all.
mm,
We're talking about a mortal issue, because I know it's a very dangerous disease. I actually read a little bit about it, and it's just awful. I made a Facebook post on social media, sending prayers, asking people to please pray for him. I'm kind of looking into a way to maybe call him or something, because we're very close as friends, even though we've kind of parted ways, and a few bad things happened. He sued us and stuff like that, but I can look past everything when it comes to his health being bad like this, because we did have many amazing years, and so to get that kind of news, it was, it was really horrible. I'm very close to his mother and father. I've always been close to his mother and father. Um, my wife took care of his mom on a daily basis when she was up in age and not doing well. Um, his dad was just like the greatest guy on earth. He was just so funny and so amazing and so supportive. He paid
Mm.
for a lot of our early demos when we were just upstarts and, you know, in the kid with the dream era, and so, when I hear this news about his health failing like this, um, it kind of puts everything in perspective, and really makes anything to do with what we do for a living not important anymore.
Mm. You know what, you're absolutely right, because I mean, there's a few family members. I remember a friend of mine, personal friend of mine, whose family member had dementia, and it really just such an evil disease, and it just takes away the person, whether it be its mobility, where its mind or whatever, and it's so evil. And when I read it, I was like, oh my God, it's just
Uh,
life is not fair, but also life always tries to give you not chances, but like a path to go right. Enjoy every single minute, every single millisecond you can, because you don't know when
yeah,
that
my
time's up.
grandfather had it. My grandfather had dementia, some form of dementia, to where he starts to lose and not know who you are and stuff like that. And he would have moments where he knew who I was, and it's just awful. God, I wish they could find a way to, you know, um, find something to fix it.
Yeah, well, kick its ass,
I don't know what it is that causes it. It's just awful.
Mm. But going on, I mean, we wish him. I mean, if ever Jack Russell does eventually listen to this or watch this, wish you all the very best, and wish you all in good health, because there's probably loads of stories to tell about you and Jack. But I want to go into one where you opened for Judas Priest, and I think this was in the early days, wasn't it? The early days when Great White started to come around, was it not?
Yeah, our very first tour was with Whitesnake in the UK, and then when we came back to the States, we opened for Judas Priest. It was
What was yeah?
1984.
What was that like for you then?
Scary at first. It was funny because when we got to Niagara Falls, New York, we went to the arena because they were filming a video for MTV's, and we're standing in the arena. It looked like Godzilla on stage. I mean, they had this big quad, you know, amps to the ceiling. I mean, it was just crazy. I was scared to death. Not even going on stage yet, just knowing I was going to, and just going like, we're gonna set up in front of this, you know, and it was just crazy. But they treated us so well, and they knew we were green, and you know, it was early part of our career, so they kind of took us under their wing, gave us some confidence. They wanted us to do good, so I became really good friends with all of them. One time I played pool with Glenn Tipton on I mean, we had a show the next day. We played for 10 hours straight and drank about probably 20 pitchers of beer.
Oh,
and and the next day, I'm thinking he's older than me. He's got to be hurting because I'm hurting. And he walked by me going on stage. We'd already played, and he says, "Mark, I don't feel well." And and they went on stage and they did great. You would have never known he didn't feel well.
that's some of the magic of some of the heavy metal or rock and roll singers and the band members. You just hear some legendary stories. Has there ever been one that always sticks out in your mind where you just sat there going, that was such an awesome, or awesome or outrageous memory?
The most outrageous memory that I can remember that was kind of a negative situation, but also shocking because I never seen anything like it. Is we're playing a show. It was actually with Judas Priest, and we're in the middle of this song called "On Your Knees." And lighting trusses are like really high; they're like 40 feet in the air, where they hang lights in front of the stage and then behind us and everywhere. A girl almost hit Jack. She fell from the lighting truss right onto the stage and missed him by like 2 feet. And we stopped the show, and you know the paramedics came and all that, and we checked on her the next day and found out she had a couple broken bones, a couple bruises, some bruising, but she was going to be okay. So we sent her flowers and a note that said, "Next time you're going to drop in on the band, let us know." With love, Great White. You know what I mean? But that was one of the most insane moments. I mean, there were many things that kind of sticks out. Things that never happen. It's like uh, uh, one time the bus caught on fire, broke down in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it was really rural. It was like farm stuff, farm community where the homes were like a mile apart. And so we're playing with Twisted Sister,
Oh,
and
what about?
we had to make it to the airplane. Well, we were going to make it on the bus, but it was going to be close already. And when the bus broke down, we were in a lot of trouble. So we went up to this farmhouse. This guy had a pickup, and we asked him if he could get us to the airport so we could fly to the gig. And because we already had crew ahead with trucks that had all our gear on stage. Gear was no problem, but we got to get our bodies there. So this guy, we gave him 400, and he gave us a ride. We rode in the back of his pickup truck and just brought the minimal, just our stage clothes with us. That was pretty amazing. Just things like that. Crazy,
But
crazy.
you know what? The way you just say you're gonna perform with Twisted Sister, it's just I could just see you in the pickup truck and all of you, and it's like the music of "I Wanna Rock," we just want to come
Yeah,
on and
yeah. We made it by 5 minutes. They were going to strike our gear. We weren't even
oh
going to play
shit.
that night. There's another band opening before us called TNT. So they
Mm.
were just going to have a 2-band night, but we literally walked straight on the stage and just counted to 4 and started playing. It was amazing, man. We barely made. We came out of cabs dressed in our stage clothes. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like fun.
Do you know, it'd just been
Oh my
more funny
god.
if the pickup truck just did like a little virtual ramp, little stump ramp onto the stage going "Brr, brr, brr, brr," like that and just go, yep, there we
Exactly.
are.
Yeah, it's just nutty, man.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of bands you perform with. Obviously, you mentioned Twisted Sister, you mentioned TNT. There's also just mentioned here, it's like there's Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, David Lee Roth. I mean, um,
Mhm.
what was it that you performed with? What were these moments like for you to be performing with bands and singers like that, and to be, standing shoulder to shoulder with some of them, whether you be opening or actually performing them on the same stage?
Great. In fact, our manager managed Guns N' Roses, um, and they had just gone gold. And we only played one show with them at the Ritz in New York for MTV, and we'd already sold like 2 million on the record we were touring on, and they just went gold. But our manager said, "You should open tonight. Just play before them. We're both going to play an hour, so it's not like it's kind of like a co-headline thing." But and we go, "No problem. Yeah, great." So and it was funny because that show I had 103 degrees temperature. And so back then we used to say we cured everything with beer. So I just got to drink an extra Heineken tonight and everything will work out. So I had so I played with fever, but that show's still on YouTube. Both bands had a great night, and but yeah, we played with everybody. We've been on festivals in Europe. With like we just a few years ago played with Udo. You mentioned Accept, but Udo, and our last album we did with Michael Wagner, who did all those Accept records. He's the producer, and he produced our first album, but we had our first EP and our first album, and we hadn't worked with him in a long time. And I saw him on the Monsters cruise. I go, "Hey, Michael, what's up?" He came and watched us play, and then I saw him somewhere else buy these T-shirts. And as I was walking away, he goes, "Hey, man, why don't we do something again?" And I'm like, "What? Really? That'd be awesome." And so we ended up going to Nashville and recording our last album with Michael Wagner, who, like I said, he did all those early Balls to the Wall, all those early Accept records.
Mm.
And in fact, that's why he lives in Nashville, because Wolf had a house there, and Michael Wagner fell in love with Nashville. So he's been there like probably 25 years now.
I was going to say though that I think because I spoken to Martin Motnick of Accept, the bass player for Accept, and he said, "Oh yeah, I moved to Nashville," and I was like, "What is it with Accept in Nashville?"
Yeah. Well, when Wagner moved there, there was 500,000 people. Now there's 2,500,000. So, the population has, yeah, but it's nothing like Los Angeles or New York. I mean, it's pretty sweet, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's nice, you know.
When it came down to, I mean, going into it's like the sort of the mid to late 1980s, 1987, the band released Once Bitten album release, and
Yeah.
obviously there's if you name a couple of songs, Rock Me, Save Your Love, Lady Red Light, all become such hits. I mean, for you
Yeah.
personally, because obviously you being the original member of the band and everything, and going on this
Right.
long journey, what was it like for you that Once Bitten just shot off to the stars and next there's all this commercial success?
Well, our first two albums, like our first album, we were in a way trying to be something other than ourselves. We were trying to be like Judas Priest and the early Scorpions, even though it didn't turn out that way. It didn't sound like that, but we were trying to be heavy. And then on the second album, we were kind of trying to find our way. And our manager noticed that in between when we were recording, I was playing this blues stuff, you know, noodling around, just practicing. And I'd play stuff that I played like when I was a teenager, from people who inspired me to improve, the type guitar players, the Blackmores, Billy Gibbons, a lot of Alvin Lee and Johnny Winter. And I think something clicked in his head when he started hearing that and goes, "You should be doing that, not this stuff, whatever you're doing here." So, but we went ahead and finished that second album. It didn't do well, but we had a song that we did from the Angels. We were called Angel City, changed the name to Angels. And we got a song called Face the Day on the radio, which generated enough interest because we were dropped off our first label from our first album from EMI America. And so we went a whole year with no label, with no record deal. So we made that second album, Shot in the Dark, ourselves. And luckily we got some airplay from one of the songs in Texas, Arizona, and Los Angeles on a big station in Los Angeles. And became #2 song of the year, and we had no deal. But Capitol Records signed us, and they put their name on that second album, but they said go in the studio and do something good. So we, you know, so now I'm free to just play from my influences. I don't have to try to be like anybody. And the funny thing is, as soon as we became honest with ourselves, people liked it, you know, and our backs are against the wall. If we don't come with something on that, me and you aren't talking right now, for sure. So luckily, we made some music that people could relate to, and it did well, and it was a blessing. It's funny because I've seen a lot of documentaries on some of my heroes, bands, the Tom Petty's, Chicago, the Eagles. All these bands have that similar story. It's like they struggled like crazy. It's like REO Speedwagon, their first 2 albums didn't do nothing either. Their third album did good. So at least, this isn't like a unique situation. Some people come out with their first album and it just goes through the roof. They sell 20 million. We were more of a slow build, and we had to figure things out, and so when it was successful, of course it was, we're totally grateful. And so now we have to try to improve, try to get better from there. And that's what we're always trying to do, is try to improve on the last thing. And I think that's what keeps us motivated. That's what keeps us vibrating at a frequency we think we should be vibrating at. And, to be creative and try to write the best song of your life,
Are you looking for the perfect bracelet for a loved one? Would your man be interested in a personalized keyring from his children? Are you looking for the best priced jewelry, whether it be a necklace, ring, earrings, bangle, or even more? Look no further than Crafted Arts. Crafted Arts is a local business based in Barry within the Vale of Glamorgan, and they have a range of all the perfect items you need. If it's for the perfect gift for an anniversary, or maybe it's for someone's birthday, maybe something for Christmas, or you wanted to give someone that perfect gift that will last a long time, Crafted Arts is the business for you. If you want to know more or see what they have in stock, then you can visit them locally at 29 High Street, Barry, Vale of Glamorgan, CF627EB, or you can go onto their website at www.craftedarts.co.uk. You can even email them at info@craftedarts.co.uk, or maybe just give them a call at 07789 94248. Trust me, it's worth it for the perfect gift. The best thing about Creative Space is that we don't just want to encourage people in being creative in TV, film, or even theatre. We also want you to be creative in a variety of other things as well. So do you want to have experience in making jewelry? Do you want to pick up a hobby but do not know what to take or where to start? Then look no further than the Vale Jewelry Workshops. Vale Jewelry Workshops provides the best experience in teaching you how to make the best sterling silver jewelry. They will help you make a range of silverware, including rings, bracelets, and many more pieces. You will learn the basic silversmith skills such as soldering, texturing, shaping, and lots more. Not only do the workshops provide the experience for adults, it also provides the best experience and fun for children as well. So if you want to learn on how to make sterling silver jewelry, and if you're very interested, go onto their website at www.valejewelryworkshops.co.uk or get in touch with them via email at info@valejewelryworkshops.co.uk, or even phone them at 07789 794248.
There was another one that came along afterwards, another song that became really successful, and that was one of the songs. I don't know if it was the album after that or one. It was part of Once Bitten, but it was Once Bitten, Twice Shy, which was Grammy nominated, etc. I mean,
yeah.
what was that like? What was the behind the song Once Bitten, Twice Shy? And did you guys feel that this was going to be a success, or did you just feel like, listen, we've written a song, this is what it is, and let's hope for the best.
Well, our album was done. The Twice Shy album was completely done, and a guy from Guns N' Roses came to Alan, our manager, called Izzy Stradlin, with that song "Once Bitten, Twice Shy." He goes, "You had an album called Once Bitten. This one's called Twice Shy. Check out this song called Once Bitten, Twice Shy." I guess it was never a big hit or anything, but it's a cool song. Our manager loved the lyrics. He just thought it was great because we were a hardcore road band. You know, we were always on the road, never came home for anything other than to wash our clothes. And, you know, so he related to the lyrics. So he brought us the song. We were finished with the record. We had enough material. So we weren't looking to do a cover song. It just, he said, do it, just kind of make it your own, and we'll record this and put it on the record. We thought the song was fine. So the only thing we changed was the chorus. Instead of saying I'm once bitten, twice shy, we said my, once bitten, twice shy. So that's the only thing we really changed. And, you know, it sounds the way it does. But we had no idea it was going to be almost demanded to be the single by the record company. So that was kind of crazy, and it just took on a life of its own. You know, the funny thing is when we were on Judas Priest tour, before the tour, our sound man was friends with Ian Hunter, and we needed a drum riser, and he had one in his backyard, and he wasn't doing anything. So we went by his house and borrowed his drum riser out of the backyard for the Priest tour. But
It's
it
just
had
stuff like
nothing to
that.
do with us doing that song. Nothing at all. It wasn't even related to doing that song. So I've told the story before, but had we needed material or needed a song and we're going to do a cover song, we would find a song that's a huge hit and then try to do it our own way. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Not find a song that nobody knows and then try to make it a hit. We would do like what Lenny Kravitz did with American Woman. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
kind of make it our own, and you know, and you're halfway home because it was already a smash. You know what I mean? So luckily for us, the song went really big, but it wasn't by design on our part that doing this song. It was just you know, that's the way most things happen. They're not
Yeah.
planned, and you know.
Did you turn up to the Grammy Awards for that, for the nomination?
We actually couldn't because we were touring, but I remember the bands that it was Aerosmith, Metallica, and of course Living Color, who were the band that won. There was one other band, I can't remember who it was, but there was 5 nominated and we
Yeah.
didn't win. but
Bastards.
but you know, the funny thing is our song was number 5 in Billboard. It was actually above the winners. The winners were 13. I'll never
Yeah.
forget that.
Yeah.
But it was a
Well,
badass song that won. It was a really good song.
yeah. Was
Cult
it
of Personality.
I was gonna say it was the Cult of Personality because
Yeah,
no
great song.
disrespect to Living Color, but
Yeah,
I mean I would never have heard of Living Color, even though I'm a rock and roll. I could call myself a rock and roll fan and everything,
yeah,
but I never heard of Living Color until a wrestler CM Punk came out to Cult of Personality, and I was
yeah,
like, "What is this song?" And then I had to look
yeah.
it up and think, "Oh shit, I want to listen to these guys."
You want to hear something funny?
What's that?
I liked the song so much, I got their record, and no other songs even sounded like it was from the same band. It was like a complete. It was like that song was completely removed from the other stuff. It was all good, but that song really stood out. I thought, God, I can't wait to hear what else they got. I mean, this is so killer. But yeah, that was cool. You know, just to be nominated for a Grammys, like really, you know, it's a pretty neat thing, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, but you get into a band, or you play guitar because you love playing it, right? You're not really thinking about trophies, when you
No.
when you play guitar, like a bowler. I mean, so I hope we win so we can get our trophy. You know what I mean? It's not that type deal. It's like you just play guitar because you love it, and you hope other people are going to love what you're playing. You know, so we never thought of like, oh, you get trophies for doing this. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah. Um, when it came down to during the height of everything, was there ever a specific moment for you, regardless of the Grammy nomination, regardless of the height?
Yeah,
Was there ever in within that period? Was there another highlight for you that really stuck out? Did you ever meet someone go, "Hey, and like another famous artist or actor or whatever said, oh, I really like your song." You gone, "Holy shit, you're so and so," or that was a really cool moment. Yeah.
yeah. Um, I've met people that have heard of us and know the music, and but one thing that sticks out is when we were teenagers and we used to go to concerts, we always went to the Forum, and that was in Los Angeles, and where our big basketball team called the Lakers played. So
Mm.
it's like if you play the Forum, you're kind of a big deal because it's a 20,000 seater, and so when we played there, and my parents were there and everything, and guys I went to grade school with were in the front rows. That's really cool. And also the record company gave us platinum records on the stage. So things like that kind of stand out. It's fun to share it with your friends, like dig it, because they don't give a shit. My friends don't care that I'm in a band. I mean, we get in arguments, and they nobody's put me on a pedestal or treat me any different, and I don't want to be treated different. I have the same friends I had when I was a kid, a lot of them. Um, but yeah, as far as any big stars, I've been in situations that are kind of weird. Like I played in this golf tournament called the Frank Sinatra Celebrity Golf Tournament,
Mm.
and I'm hanging out with people like Dick Van Dyke, and I mean, this is Joe Pesci, Barry Gordy, Smokey Robinson. I'm sitting around, and we're watching Harry Connick Jr. play. Like, and he was so awesome, I couldn't even believe it. But it's maybe not a show I would go to on my own, but I'm glad I've seen it because this guy he was so phenomenal. I couldn't even understand it. But one thing I noticed when Dick Van Dyke walked into this room where we're eating, it was like I could feel the power. I could feel the power of his presence, and I never felt that by any star before. I'm going, how can anybody just by walking in a room, you just feel like, oh my god, like I was getting chills. It was weird, man. And I'm not even like this huge fan of Dick Van Dyke. It was just something about the way his I don't know what it is. I don't know what you call that.
This aura or some of this presence, it's just
Yeah,
something. I mean, I,
yeah.
funny enough,
I don't know
I
if you've ever had that by anybody, but it's
well,
crazy.
it's funny enough, I mean, I've only had it once. No, that's a lie. That is a freaking lie. Every time I've spoken to people on the podcast, man, that's why I'm like, oh shit. Um, but I think the one that I've nearly been
Yeah.
lost for words is that like I said earlier when I mentioned about wrestling, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and
Oh, yeah.
and I'm a huge wrestling fan, regardless of what promotion it is. But I remember when WWE came to Cardiff to do a pay-per-view, and The Undertaker, who is my
No way.
all-time favorite when I was growing up, when I was a child, I idolized this guy, and I kept saying to people that I'm gonna go to this, right? But because he was in such demand, and it was the first ever UK Q&A that he did, so the demand was pretty high, and I said, "Come hell or high water, I'm gonna go. I don't care how much it's gonna cost me." And it cost me about 260 quid for VIP, and I don't you know,
Oh
and I
wow.
and to be honest with you, it's best money I've ever spent, because if I didn't, then there's always the what ifs in the back of my mind. And when I got to meet him, a friend, I'm looking at this 6'10" man with crooked, broken fingers. He's just still big guy, and he's like in his thick Texan accent, like little thick accent. He was going, "Oh, so how's it going? What's your name?" And he went, "Well, where you from?" And I'm there going, uh, I'm 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 in nowhere land, dude, because I'm just looking at my hero. It's just
That's
awesome.
amazing.
And what was really,
Cardiff. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, it was weird because, I mean, if you look at, I mean, I got pretty decent sized hands, but if you compared to my hands, it was like
Oh yeah.
those were his hands. I was like, for God's sake, man,
Oh shit.
it's stupid.
You could probably fall in basketball. Your hands are big.
Yeah.
Cardiff reminded me of something. I'm a boxing fan,
Mm.
and there was a guy from he was from Wales. He was I'm not sure if it was Cardiff, but his name's Joe Calzaghe. He was just
Joe
a
Calzaghe.
wonderful fighter. Oh, he's badass. And there was a big fight when he fought God, I wish I could
Roy
remember the
Jones
guy's
Jr.
name.
or Bernard Hopkins?
No. Before that, it was before that. He fought a huge fight. Well, he beat Jeff Lacey, and
Mm.
then he fought a really big fight. It was a white dude. They became
Oh,
good friends. Do you
Danish guy.
remember
Yeah, yeah, I think I know.
Yeah, the Danish guy.
Oh,
He
do
was
you know what?
super badass, but Kawasaki won that fight.
Yeah, I'm having a look
But
now. Just
but
very
that was
quickly.
in Cardiff. That fight was in
Yeah.
Cardiff.
Mikhail Kessler.
Yeah, Kessler.
Yeah.
Oh, he was tough, man. But
Oh,
Kawasaki outbeat him, and yeah, the Roy Jones fight. I watched most of those fights online because I'm so intrigued by his story and his dad and
mm,
everything,
yeah,
and
yeah.
his dad being his trainer, which they claim that there's never been a father son thing that has been hugely successful like that Kawasaki thing. That was just
I
bizarre,
tell
but what a badass he was.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you another thing as well. I remember it was a few years ago. Joe Calzaghe did a Q&A. Now I met Joe Calzaghe loads of times, considering he's in the South Wales area and I'm from the South
Oh
Wales
yeah.
area. And we did a Q&A in Cardiff,
Oh boy.
and I met him, shook hands with him. I got a picture with him, everything. But what was weird, because I did VIP, I was sat front row, legitimately front row. Sat behind me was his father, Enzo. And I'm like,
No
dude,
way.
I was like, dude, why are you sat behind
You
me?
got a
You should,
better assist than him.
I know. I
That's
was like, why are you
crazy.
sat? And I was like, you should be sat here. And he was like, no, 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 no. You sit right there. You enjoy my son. And but it's just mad though for Enzo Kawasaki to train him, because I could be wrong, but from my knowledge, he came from a music background. Enzo, he
Oh yeah, yeah. His
never
dad was
came
in
from
a
a
band.
boxing background. He was in a
No.
band. And I'm like, how can a music man go
Yeah.
and train his son
I
to
know.
become champion of the world, you know?
They said he used grooves, musical grooves for his punches.
Mm.
Like, he treated it like, this is the verse, that's jab, and then you go into the pre-chorus, and that's kind of a little bit more busy, and then the chorus is bam, 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 bam,
Yeah.
bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? So he was thinking in musical ways on the punches. But yeah, wonderful story, great documentary. I've seen the documentary. I watched his whole career. It seems like a really super guy, and I've also seen some sit-arounds where they have Roy Jones and a lot of old fighters, and they just sit around and chat. They had that one fighter that he beat that was badass, Eubanks.
Oh, Chris Eubank.
Remember that
Yeah.
fight? Oh man, that was
Oh my
badass.
God.
He
There
knocked
was
Eubanks out like in 15 seconds, knocked
like
him
that.
down. But then, oh, look out, buddy! You're gonna have to show up.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a badass fight.
Oh, we were so devastated when he retired. We were so devastated. I think
Yeah,
the entire country of Wales was so devastated because um he only seemed to, I mean, yeah, there was Jeff Lacey, but because he came to the UK, it's always that
yeah.
thing, isn't it, in boxing where you got to get into the States to make it big. And he had to go to the States. And yeah, he fought Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr., which are the biggest names in boxing for his
Oh
weight and
yeah,
standard. And people were really glad
absolutely.
that he did because they've always said, yeah, you can finish undefeated, but you never made it there. And it's like, oh, but I'm
Yeah.
so glad he did. And
I,
but
I,
when he announced,
that made
yeah,
me really happy. And they had him an underdog against Lacey, like 4-1, I think.
yeah,
Lacey was
and
supposed to go in and just destroy him, and that was the greatest, most tactical, badass fight of maybe his career. He just made him look so bad.
did you
It
know
was,
he's
it
like
was
a broken hand?
insane.
But for five of his last fights, he couldn't use his
Yeah,
left hand, and that was his powerhouse.
I think that his hands stemmed. I mean, that's part of his retirement.
Yeah.
Uh, I believe if his hands were really healthy, I think he probably would have fought a few more.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah, his hands are really they're broken. They're bad. I mean, he's
Oh,
fighting
yeah.
with one hand, and you can't
Oh,
do
do you know
that,
what?
man.
It's another thing as well, mentioning because there was another boxer, a British boxer called Carl Froch. And his only claim to fame is that he keeps saying, I fought Groves, uh what's his name, George Groves at Wembley in front of 80,000 people. It's like, motherfucker, you
Uh,
lost two fights. Joe Kawasaki has won Joe Kawasaki's won all the titles he's ever competed against. He's
every
fought in
fight.
America. He's fought three or four of the finest legendary boxers that will go down in Hall of Fame history. And even now, still today, he's still going, oh, I'm better than Joe Kawasaki. Fuck off.
Oh, really?
Fuck off.
Yeah, and he just completely destroyed Roy Jones. But
Mm.
the Bernard Hawkins fact was a little closer, but he really went out there and put it all on the line, his career. And yeah, I thought it was totally brave. It was funny because Bernard Hopkins go, no white man's gonna beat me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we
That was
mentioned that.
hysterical. He
Yeah,
loved it. He loved it because he goes, the fight's on. He
yeah.
just made the
I'm
fight.
I'm
He
getting
just
in your
made the
head.
fight. He
I'm
goes, he
getting in
just
your
made the
head.
fight.
Do you know
It's
what
beautiful.
but it was so funny though, because that was mentioned in this Q&A when his father was sat behind me. And Joe
Yeah.
Kozaki, very humble, and
Oh
he
yeah.
started, he was laughing about it. He was like, oh, I remember when he says, I never let a white man beat me.
You never
And
know.
he said, and Joe Kawasaki said, it wasn't a racial thing. I never thought of it
No,
like
no,
that.
absolutely not.
He was
No,
like, I
no.
never thought of it like that. He went, but the reason why I was smiling because I got in his head. I got him in his
Got his
head. And he
head.
went,
Yeah,
that's the
big
reason why
time.
he was winning.
You go.
And I
Yes,
thought,
Kazaki was sitting there going, "You're going to lose.
yeah,
You're
you're
going
going
to
to lose.
lose.
Yeah.
You're going to lose." I love it.
Man, I could talk about
Brilliant,
boxing with you, man.
brilliant, brilliant
Yeah,
story. His sisters are wonderful too.
yeah.
It's funny because I'm listening to his sisters. I had to put on the captions because their accents were so outrageous that it
Oh
was,
yeah,
I hear you perfect, but they have their accents are very, very strong, and I wanted to hear what they're saying.
yeah. I
They're,
think
they're
yeah,
really cute, really cute.
because I think the type of accents they got is from the valleys, and the valleys are very thick accents, the Welsh accents. If you ever
Oh,
come to
okay,
Wales, I mean, in Wales, I mean, it's only a small country in itself in the UK.
yeah,
Only 3 million,
right,
but in South Wales alone, it's like my accent. I can never tell, but some people say that I'm more. Think of Boston, right? They're very sharp.
right, right.
They're very sharp and everything, and that's what
Oh,
it's
oh yeah.
mostly like in the Cardiff, Barry, South Division area. But then you go up.
I'm a pull. Go. I'm sorry. I'm talking
No,
over
no,
you.
it's fine. No, I'm more than happy to.
I was
It's
just
just.
gonna say with Cardiff, I'm a pool player. Like
Mm,
I played just under pro level pool. I played in a lot of tournaments. I played in the World Tournament in New York. Um, Cardiff had the world championships like every year. That's where the world championships in pool were located.
Mm.
So
And
that's another Cardiff. It has a little history going on here.
I know because it's got such a big, proud history, and I'm very proud to, be, a fellow Welshman now. But I think if you, it's not, you're not the only one. I've spoken to many people who've said that people that they know from West Wales, like in the Swansea areas or in the valleys, if you go into further up into the mid south slash mid areas, the accent is very, very thick. There's
Okay.
talking like this all the time they do and everything like that. It could have sounded completely different there. But
My hearing's bad enough, so when you throw an accent at me, that's really power. I can't hear the words like the way I want to hear them.
yeah.
Is Wales kind of, is it colonial at all, or is it, what does the neighborhoods look like? A lot
So
of
base
cobblestone, or
so
what does it look like then? I've never
well
been there.
it's the thing about Wales is that yeah, it had so many castles. I could go on about it for hours and hours, but
It's
yeah, there's
industry. There's some industry there, or
yeah,
something like that.
they've got there's an industry there. They've got like a lot of film and television going on here, especially with the BBC. They moved most of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the stuff there. A lot of success is coming with artist industries. I mean, we share pride with, obviously you've got the likes of Tom Jones, you got the likes of Shirley Bassey, you got the
Oh
likes of
yeah, Tom Jones, man.
oh
I
my
met
God.
Tom Jones.
Yeah.
I should have mentioned him because our very first video we did, he was rehearsing in the next room. We were in this big room because we're filming, like playing live, but we're not playing live. We're playing to a song. And I looked through the window. He's rehearsing with his band because they were going on Johnny Carson, which was a big
Yeah.
Tonight Show in America. But anyways, yeah, I saw Tom Jones in his, like, his sweatpants and just singing "Not Unusual."
Yeah.
That was
I'll
quite a
bring on
while
the
ago,
sex
so
bombs and everything.
he's pretty badass. That guy, he's tough, man.
Oh man. I've had such a fun conversation with you. We
I
could
know
talk.
we've way gone off the music
Hey,
subject.
it doesn't matter. I mean, we could talk about the sky being blue for all I care, and it'll be fun. And
Yeah,
but
that was
but
fun.
but for you, it's like now, in terms of Great White now, we can always talk about the past and everything, but in terms of now, what do you look forward to the most with Great White and how far you've come with the band?
Um, well, we love to play live, and we're really playing good right now. We got a great singer, um, and we want to make some new music, but the world has changed so much. We're kind of talking to a lot of people on how to release it, you know, because we've talked about just putting one song out at a time, maybe with a video, because it's going to be free anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But that way, we don't give too much information for people to think about, like almost like in the old days when they put a single out. We throw our best song out with the video so they can trip on that, and then maybe come with another song a couple weeks down the road, and then maybe release, everything. That's been talked about because now they have all this stuff, algorithms, and it's just the whole world's gone technical. So it's a lot different, and it's different in the sense that when I was a teenager, I knew everybody's name in every band, what they did. I read the liner notes. I knew who wrote the songs. I paid attention to all that, and it was really eventful. Like, we go to the record store and get Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin and listen to it all day long. It was like this total event, to where today I think it's more like downloading a
Mm.
couple songs from this guy, a couple from that guy. It's more song driven and not so much human connection, like with
Yeah.
the artists themselves. Like, so for us to just throw 13 songs out there, it's like, I don't know if that's the way to do it, but we are talking to a lot of people. We have people that work for us that are like internet assassins, so they know what they're doing. But and we've talked to people in the industry a little bit, so we'll figure out the best way to get some new music out there. Because I
Mm.
think a lot of bands they're writing good music. I was on this cruise and I'm watching Saxon play. Okay, you know, and I think they're a pretty good band. And they did this song, and I'm doing things that I never do at a normal show. Like I'm never in the crowd at a normal show. But on the monster cruises, you mingle with the fans. That's part of it. You do things that you don't normally do. So I'm out watching Saxon, with the guy from Tesla, and they did this song, something about bullets and all this stuff, and I go, that was a pretty cool song, man. I really like that tune. That was badass. What when did that come out? Like thinking what 1981 or something. This guy goes, oh no, that came out 2 years ago. That was on their last album. What? Are you serious? This came from 2 years ago? That's cool, man. It's so. My point is, I think bands, for instance, Night Ranger. I heard an album they did not that long ago that was killer stuff. As good as they did back in their heyday. So I think that there's still viable music available from artists. It's just that the mediums have changed so much. There's no longer like radio plays classic rock, and it's on a time grid. It's like at 1:10 every day you're going to hear this Tom Petty song. You know what I mean? So there's no freeform radio. There's no MTV. There's no radio stations playing brand new music. So you have to get the music to the people any way you can, and that's mostly through the internet. So it's different.
Oh yeah. Mark, last question for you, and thanks so much for taking the
Yeah.
time to do it. It's absolutely been awesome. How do you look back on your career?
Um, you know, pretty fondly actually. Because when I was 18 and I decided to do this, I kind of always had the I'm all in. You know, I never had a thought that if this doesn't work out, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to fall back on this because I've heard that saying so often that to me it sounded like, oh, well, as soon as I fail at this, I'm going to go try to, do this. I had the attitude like I'm going all in. I'm gonna put everything I have into this one thing that I love, and either I'm gonna end up a total bum, you know, homeless and with no girls that love me, or else this is gonna go. So I was pretty relentless. So when I look at my career, yeah, we're not Led Zeppelin. I'm not living in fantasy world. We're kind of a midstream band. But when I look back at where I came from, just a kid with a dream, that was playing in people's backyards, it's pretty good. I feel good about, what we've accomplished, and just the fact that, we have songs that actually people have memories about what they were doing at that time. You know, I remember it was my first girlfriend in high school, or when Rock Me came out, or you know what I mean. And that's good, cool to be a part of that because I'm a fan myself, and I have my heroes and songs that they did that bring me back to a certain thing that I was doing. So for our music to be a part of people's lives, because we grew up with our fans basically, and it's just neat that we actually have some songs that are part of a culture and part of people's lives. It's fucking badass. So I look back on the career pretty fondly.
Are you looking for the perfect bracelet for a loved one? Would your man be interested in a personalized keyring from his children? Are you looking for the best priced jewelry, whether it be a necklace, ring, earrings, bangle, or even more? Look no further than Crafted Arts. Crafted Arts is a local business based in Barry within the Vale of Glamorgan, and they have a range of all the perfect items you need. If it's for the perfect gift for an anniversary, or maybe it's for someone's birthday, maybe something for Christmas, or you wanted to give someone that perfect gift that will last a long time, Crafted Arts is the business for you. If you want to know more or see what they have in stock, then you can visit them locally at 29 High Street, Barry, Vale of Glamorgan, CF627EB, or you can go onto their website at www.craftedarts.co.uk. You could even email them at info@craftedarts.co.uk, or maybe just give them a call at 07789 94248. Trust me, it's worth it for the perfect gift. The best thing about Creative Space is that we don't just want to encourage people in being creative in TV, film, or even theatre. We also want you to be creative in a variety of other things as well. So do you want to have experience in making jewelry? Do you want to pick up a hobby but do not know what to take or where to start? Then look no further than the Vale Jewelry Workshops. Vale Jewelry Workshops provides the best experience in teaching you how to make the best sterling silver jewelry. They will help you make a range of silverware including rings, bracelets, and many more pieces. You will learn the basic silversmith skills such as soldering, texturing, shaping, and lots more. Not only do the workshops provide the experience for adults, it also provides the best experience and fun for children as well. So if you want to learn on how to make sterling silver jewelry, and if you're very interested, go onto their website at www.valejewelryworkshops.co.uk or get in touch with them via email at info@valejewelryworkshops.co.uk or even phone them at 07789 794248. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Creative Space Podcast channel. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified for more content in the future. Thank you once again.